the support in the chat on that. I'm actually excited to bring our real players because it's a lot more fun. We have real people, not just myself. And so we Ben Williams and Julia Campbell joining us today. Really excited. I'm going to share the gameplay table in a bit, folks, but we're going to do a bit of a session 0 in Dungeons and Dragons talk. That's just getting comfortable and getting into character. Just one thing for everybody's benefit is that the characters themselves that Julia, Ben, and anybody who plays the Generosity Roundtable play are rooted in archetype cards that have had, I would say, 3 to 4 years of research and development put into it. I've been kind of obsessed with this idea of like generosity archetypes after taking the Institute for Sustainable Philanthropy course with Jen Shang. And so from that, I developed 10 archetypes with 5 different categories. So let's get into it. Enough talking from me. Ben, I would love for you to introduce yourself, talk a bit about what is going on at the Connect Center, and a little bit about your character too.
Cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Williams. I'm the executive director and co-founder of the Connect Center for Youth in Cohoes, New York, upstate, connectcenterforyouth.org if you want to learn more. But basically, at our core, we're an anti-poverty organization, and we do that by a 2-level approach. So kind of like if everybody remembers Maslow's hierarchy from grade school, kind of the bottom level of support is we do a bunch of community support work. So we have a food pantry and we do a weekend feeding program. So we work with the local school district to feed kids in K through 12. And then we feed the community through our food pantry program. And we have just been seeing an exponential growth in the need there, and really awesome that we've been able to respond. We sent out almost 100,000 meals last year, up from 2,000 meals like 2 years ago. So it's just been skyrocketing. The fun stuff that we do, though, is STEAM programming for youth in grades 6 through 12. So we do a whole bunch of after-school workshops. We built out a whole STEAM lab. We have a music studio, a tech hub. We have an arcade. We do esports, and we do some gaming programming. We do coding, computer building. We're 3D printing. If it's nerdy, we do it. You name it. We also have a full kitchen. We do a bunch of culinary workshops. I myself am a recovering chef. Actually, I can't say recovering anymore. I'm back at it. I'm an active chef. I've done a few events this year, and just re-engaging with my creative side of my personal passions. So yeah, I love to teach. We love to eat. Jen from Canada, that's where the tacos came from. So we throw an annual fundraiser called Tacos for Life that kind of spun off of a steam-based taco camp that I was teaching one summer. It's turned into a regional taco competition, block party / fun time. So I like to do things out of the box, non-traditionally. This experience at the Connect Center was my first time in the sector. So, learning about the sector and what's broken and what works and what doesn't is very near and dear to my heart. I also like to do like weird stuff and try it. So I'm a big pilot person. I'm a big visionary.
So speaking of that, Ben,
it's been working so far.
So we're going to be focusing, because I want to kick it over to Julia too, but you have a new board, and that's why we're going to be playing the new leadership energy card that I'm going to read out during gameplay, and we're going to get a little bit of alignment with that. But talk about kind of what's going on at the Connect Center, why this is a good card to play for you, because we're going to do something that's going to help you and Julia kind of explore things around recurring giving specifically. But talk about what's going on and a bit about the character you're playing today.
Yeah, so the new leadership energy card is amazing right now because, we've experienced some recent board turnover kind of in our nonprofit life cycle. We're like a teenager, right? We got zits, but we've come out of our first kind of startup board into a new season with some new board members, some fresh energy. And, I'm really excited about getting them on board, getting them aligned, and really going after our mission. So I love that. And then today I'm playing as our board president, who is what card am I playing again, Tim?
You're the builder.
Builder, I think.
Yep.
Yes.
And Ben, if you want to
in a second, but
if you want to turn off your camera to help with things, because we're going to be looking at the table, so it's okay if you want to turn your camera off.
Am I glitching?
A little bit.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So tell us a bit about Eric. Why is Eric a builder? And then we'll kick it over to Julia, because we're going to explore this together. Not everybody has to know each other. It turns out that Ben and Julia are just meeting for the first time. But tell us a little bit about Eric. How is Eric approaching the world?
Eric has been my right-hand guy since day one. He's, I consider him part founder of the project, but he is just patient. He's very emotionally non-reactive. He's steady. So when I'm freaking out, he's the first person I go and seek. He's just been a rock, and every organization needs somebody like that. But yeah, he's just left foot, right foot kind of guy, and very, very blessed to have him in my life.
Awesome. And for folks, I'll read out the builder for a moment. We're going to get into how things are going to come together later on, but generally the builder is people who identify with durability and practical impact, and that they fear urgency that ignores long-term viability. So Ben kind of looked at the different archetypes and said, this is who I'd like to play today. So thanks, Ben. I want to kick it over to Julia for a few minutes to kind of get to know you and a little bit about your character today.
So I'm Julia Campbell, and in my real life, I am a nonprofit consultant and speaker. Today I am playing a stay-at-home mom, community member of Co-Host New York, who's the head of the Mothers Club, and she is the connector, and she is researching places for the Moms Club to support. She's heard about the Connect Center. She really relies on social proof kind of signals. She does her research, and she really is selective around the causes that she supports. So today I will be the connector.
Awesome. Very cool. So generally, Ben and Julia, because you may have played, but folks who haven't played, this part of the process, the vision is that a host can be anybody, by the way. And I'm going to debut, some fun physical elements, but this is a physical card game in its ideal state, meaning that what I'm going to show you is something that I've digitized. It may or may not translate as clearly, obviously, as being in person, but we're gonna say things out loud. If it's hard to read something, feel free to say that in the chat. If it's like, hey, I can't quite see that, we'll do that. But you'll see there's a lot that you will be able to experience, see. But generally, you need a minimum, I would say, of 3 people to play. But I have played with up to 10 people at one time. That was chaotic. That was chaotic. So what Julia and Ben are going to do is go through 3 rounds of cards that I have chosen, and let's just get into it. Let's stop talking about it. Let's actually start to play. So this is the Generosity Roundtable, folks. So yes, it is a digitized version of the cards that are in the game. I've taken things from Canva and I have loaded them into here. So we are playing the new leadership energy card, and that is where new leadership voices are shaping direction, either formally or informally. Ideas are moving faster than before, and what feels unresolved is momentum is building, but trust and shared understanding are still forming. So I'm going to make sure that folks can see our lovely game players. Ben, we're going to focus a little bit specifically on recurring giving program design, right? So maybe talk a little bit in real life before we kind of go in game. So if somebody's maybe going out of game, out of character, you can even put your head, you know, feel free to do this and say, hey, I'm going to talk as Julia or Ben, not as my character for a moment. Ben, talk about kind of what you're trying to kind of explore and understand a little bit better about recurring giving by the end of this, because we also decided previously that we're going to play alignment mode. So we're basically, you and Julia are agreeing on the cards together and kind of like things generally lining up at the end of the 20 minutes or so.
I am trying to just figure out recurring giving in general. I mean, so we have probably about 40 recurring givers right now at various, you know, not price points, giving, you
levels,
know, ranges,
generosity level, yeah, giving levels, things like that.
Thank you. I couldn't find the word. I'm struggling with board buy-in from it, right? Like explaining why it's important. You know, and really, like, to me, it's a sustainability piece for the organization, as a kind of, you know, adolescent stage organization. We've been getting by on grants, mostly private grants so far, which has been amazing. And we've been landing grants far above the land rate for the national average. And, you know, that's been a blessing and a curse, because, you know, it's a blessing because we're here, we're doing the thing, we're helping people. It's a curse because my board thinks I can just magically make money appear out of nowhere, and that I'm just, you know, magnetic, which I am, but also I'm not. Like, I need to hedge for uncertainty, you know, more steady income. You know, it helps balance the month-to-month P&Ls. So, like, if you were to look at our P&Ls right now, it just looks like a roller coaster ride month to month. And it's really makes it difficult to plan that way effectively. So, you know, I really want to take our recurring giving to the next level, and, you know, recurring donors more specifically would be the base of that.
Awesome. So, Julia, kind of as we play, just keep that in mind, right? That context in mind. So just to kind of set the stage, if you were playing this, you know, in person with a group, and that's the beauty of this, right? Like, as a physical card game, especially, the vision is that this could be played anywhere. I've played it in the Connect Center. I've played it in barbecue places where the X card got used, not because somebody felt uncomfortable, but because at the Meat and Company barbecue place around from me that Ben and I both love, a set of carolers came in, like, during Christmas, and we couldn't hear. So the person I was playing with tapped the X card, and we just stopped and we just listened, right? And this is the whole beauty of what we're trying to design here, is how to have better conversations with each other. So, folks, we're going to get into it about, you know, we're going to play however long it takes. So if it's less, that's fine. But yeah, Ben, your connection's looking good, by the way. And so, we have Ben sent me his character sheet. He's rolling with it. It's just like, he knows Eric, and so he's going to do that. Julia wrote a novel about her.
Well, I told you, Tim, I need to get an A+ and a gold star. So
and so I want to, and so basically, if you were trying to figure out, how do I play? How do I get into character? The only thing that you need to do is read the card, and the host may ask you, who does this remind you of? That's it. That's it. So as you play and you watch, folks, I want you to think, what would I do, or what would somebody I respect who thinks like the connector or thinks like the builder? And we have 8 other archetypes to draw from that are deeply connected to the different reasons that people give, all the way from I get personal benefits from this, to storytelling, to reputation, to it's local to me, or it's a global vision, right? All of this is the generosity spectrum. So, enough chatting. What we're going to do is we're going to start by focusing on, we got that new leadership energy, right? And by the end of gameplay, we're going to get aligned on what's important. Doesn't have to be on the cards. It's just going to be through the conversation. You folks ready to play?
Ready.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way that the game works, folks, is that we're going to slap down 3 communications cards to start. So let me do that. I'm going to zoom in. What do the cards say? Let's flip them over. I can shuffle too, by the way. I can shuffle. I'm going to do something fun at the end. But folks, feel free to comment. Feel free to talk. Feel free to give your own opinions, right? This is not a webinar. This is an interactive peer learning experience. If anything, I almost considered adding all of you as a third player, but we're going to start with the basics today. So we're going to start consensus. Everybody's got to agree. Which of these resonates with your character the most, relating to new leadership energy and your new recurring giving program overhaul? Okay. Utilizing generative AI to write emails, focusing on public messaging in new initiatives, or updates are shared on a consistent basis. I can share the cards again, but otherwise, take it away.
Can I start?
Yeah, go.
So for me, as my character, Julia, I think that if I was meeting with the development director or meeting with the board, considering lending my support as both an influencer in the community and a person that runs an organization that could provide financial resources, I have a specific person in mind that I'm thinking of, and I know that she would be very cautious of generative AI. She's very reluctant. She's very old school. She's a little bit conservative. She would think that using generative AI to write emails is not the most transparent thing. I think that for me as her, what was the second one again? It was both of these are great. Focus public messaging on new initiatives. I like the third one. I think the third is providing updates on a consistent schedule. First of all, see, it's so hard to take off my consultant hat.
But you got it, Julia.
Okay.
Remember, I'm talking to Julia, the stay-at-home mom, not Julia.
That doesn't know anything about digital marketing. Okay. So hard. But for me, as a donor, as a member of the community, I really like to hear consistent updates, whether it's in, the library newsletter or the local newspaper, or I'm hearing about it from friends. I feel like if I'm not hearing about it, then there's nothing going on. So to me, that card would be the most important in terms of building the trust required to create a recurring giving program.
What about you, Eric?
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh, good. That was easy.
Well, okay, that's an
what
easy
if
one.
we argue on a card?
Get rid of him. I'm throwing the other ones off the table, right?
Yes.
Let's get rid of
that
those.
doesn't mean the other ones are bad, right?
No.
And that doesn't mean the other ones are like never do them, but just going on my character's gut.
Yeah. Okay. So, and by the way, folks, just so you know, there's also 6 other of these in the standard pack that's been designed and kind of been testing. I've been testing this with dozens of different organizations of all different types of sizes. The things that can change in the future and get expanded upon are these cards in particular. Julie and I are cooking something up very, very exciting for later in the year. But for now, just generally know that, the things that don't change are archetypes in a lot of ways. People can change, the characters can change. It could even change game to game, but that's kind of very rooted and very specific. So let's go into the next one, which is more engagement. Okay, so I've got to stop lecturing. Let's just play the game. So
this is so cool.
Okay, so let's flip them over. So the second conversation, and this lines up with what the conversation sessions are, folks. So if you're particularly interested in a specific topic, that's what the breakouts are. So engagement, a little bit more of that personal interaction. So Julia, Eric, there's a collaboration with a wide range of partners.
Mm-hmm.
Structured steps are provided after each interaction. Greg, I'm going to definitely answer your question a bit. Include a call to action in every supporter interaction. So let's go through that again. Collaborations with a wide range of partners. Structured steps are provided after each interaction. Include a call to action in every supporter interaction.
I like the first card just based on my character. I mean, taking off my digital marketing hat. Because to me, collaboration with a wide variety of partners means there's that social proof that I want. It also means that, like, because when I was reading the card about the connector feels safe when other people are involved, and the connector wants to connect people, but also feels safe when other people are also involved in the cause or in the decision making. Yeah. And I think also, if I was speaking as the head of the local moms club, I could help with that piece, connecting to other organizations that are not, that might not have heard of the Connect Center.
Thanks for the chime in, Jen. Tim, hover over the first one and the second one again. Collaborations.
Sure thing, Eric. Absolutely, Eric. I like calling people their character names. So,
I should have made up a name.
I know, but next time. Structured steps provided after each interaction is the second one.
And then the third one was what? Always be closing.
Always be closing.
That's the always be closing card.
ABC.
Oh my God, that's
I agree
so
with Jen. ABC is out.
ABC's out. Okay. Well, what does Julia agree with that too? You would say?
I think that it's just so hard not to answer as myself, because I have a totally different opinion on this as a consultant, but as the head of the Moms Club and just a person in the world, I don't think being asked to do something every time I get an update is the best idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think just sharing updates, like stories and impact moments, especially on social media, without any call to action, that really helps build trust. And, I scrolling through my feed, or I'm seeing it on Instagram, and it makes it easier for me to share. I'm just thinking as like a local, community member. If I see a fundraising call to action on every post, I'm less likely to share it. But if I see like a great impact story, I might share it with my network.
And don't forget, we're thinking about this from the new leadership energy kind of scenario.
Oh, are we trying to convince the leadership, get buy-in on the leadership?
Well, you're talking to the leader right now. You got the board president, playing the game.
Yeah.
All right. So I think Eric would lean more towards card number 2, because we, at the life cycle stage that we're at, we've already done the wide reach and the partnership stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The structured steps after the interactions, I think, is what we're missing. How do you volunteer? How do you donate? How you're sold on this thing and you love it. How do you interact with it, and how do you enhance it? In real life, we're struggling with that too. So
I see that. I actually do see that.
Yeah.
Completely. Like, people know about you, but then making that actionable is a little bit harder.
Yeah. How do you capture the fire in the bottle before they forget about you again?
Now, this is something that when I went to your website, I did find challenging. Now, of course, yep. I didn't do like as deep a dive as I would normally do, but me, just, little old me. And
that's funny you say that, because an hour before this meeting, I just met with my website person and was like, this is terrible. Everything's terrible.
I don't know what to do when I go to your website, and I don't know how to get involved. And I think if you're a busy person and you are researching causes for your group to support, making it super easy to understand like what you do and why you do it. And the other thing that I noticed was the lack of like stories on the website. And I know for me as the connector, I love stories, and I like seeing not just the like what of what you do, but the kind of the why of what you do. Yeah. So
the observation on
that goes with structured steps, because I think that goes really well with that card.
Awesome. And the connector is part of the general local connection, kind of like really driven by local things, and that type of like, I want to feel it right? So
Yes.
So are we kind of settled on structured steps?
Yeah.
Do we have consensus on that?
We do.
Awesome. And look at that. We got the crowd. I'm throwing the crowd work in here too. So let's pop this here and I'll throw this card off to the side. And we're going to go into our final round. Oh no, I want to do the whole.
Ben, you're going to go first, or Eric, you're going to go first.
All right. Julia, thank you for the Julia feedback too on the website. I really appreciate
That
it.
would be what I would say if I was this person I think that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
As well.
It was crazy because I went through my website like I was a mom trying to sign up for stuff.
Yes.
Like, this is
That's
terrible.
so funny.
This is so terrible.
See?
Look at that. Look at that.
Synergy.
Okay, so let's bring it on home because now we're going to talk about some operations questions. These are tactics cards that are specific to back-end operations. Kind of we went front of the house. Now we're going a little bit back of the house. So again, new leadership energy, getting alignment by the end of this. We're doing great on time, by the way. So do we want to empower staff to act immediately on new opportunities? Most staff and program interactions occur offline, right? And that's kind of a neutral statement. Or invest heavily in administration before expanding programs.
All right, go through them again.
What's the goal? What's this called? This section?
This is operations. This is like how Eric and the Connect Center team are going to kind of say, okay, if the website is goofy, like what are we going to do about that? Like what's going to help get us there quickest, or maybe not quickest, most effectively, depending on what your characters want.
Okay.
This is a tough one, Jen says. So we got ample time to talk.
Okay, empower staff. Okay.
All right, go back to the other two, Tim. I don't like the first one. Most staff and program interactions occur offline. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so that's just more about like a lot of program, like we're talking about the website, right? But recurring givers in this case, how much of an offline interaction? In this case, this is prioritizing. We want to be more connected to people in person versus, digital engagement.
Okay. And number 3?
Number 3 is going to be invest heavily in administration before expanding programs. I chose these 3 intentionally because...
Can administration, that extends to the board, right?
What do you think?
Yep.
Oh, Julia, do you agree that extends to the board?
Yeah, and I was thinking programs doesn't necessarily mean the actual work of the organization. Programs could mean your fundraising program, your marketing program.
I like that one then.
So you like invest heavily in administration before expanding programs, but with maybe some nuance to that?
Yeah, especially with the new leadership energy in play for sure.
Okay.
I think that's the one.
Okay, let's
I agree with that.
We have a consensus on this one?
Yes.
Okay. So we have
what does it mean by invest? Jen said.
What does it mean by
invest? Whatever it means, whatever you want it to mean.
Well, what do we want it to mean? Do you want to define that a little bit now while we're having the conversation? We have some good thing. Greg is saying time and money. Does that sound?
Time, talent, treasure.
Time, and talent, buy-in. Buy-in from the board that you were saying is really lacking. Like understanding that you can't just make money appear out of nowhere.
Okay. So here's the thing. We are right on time, by the way. That was a 20-minute session.
Training. Yes.
So let's look at these all together. What do the cards? Let's now. You can go out of character. Ben and Julia, the consultant.
Yay! I can be the consultant.
Okay, you can be the consultant again, right? So first of all, everybody, let's give them a round of applause because that's.
Oh, thank you.
You just witnessed the Generosity Roundtable. That was a full session. That's how they go. So, what's the reflection here? Kind of like what are you thinking? Comes, what do you want to do with this information? Kind of what's the alignment that you feel, these 3 imply?
I don't know. Ben, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think it all points back to strategic planning. and
Yeah.
kind of the org's like top priorities and kind of what comes next, kind of pointing the board and realigning the board back to the strategic plan. I think kind of that blankets like all three of these things.
I wrote some notes down because what happens, folks, and this is the cool part. So what we're going to do is create an artifact coming out of this. So Robin Yates, it seems like what's on the cards limits what's possible to collaborate on. Is this on purpose? Okay, Ben, especially because you've played this before, do you want to take this one? What do you think?
I mean, so speaking as Ben, we have all the collaborations that we need. Like I have too many partnerships and collaborations on my plate. I can't even get to all of the potential stuff and things. Right. For us, it's really about cranking down, getting hyper focused, and getting better at what we're doing right now.
Yes, because the first of all, I would say that the tactics cards themselves are one of the more fluid elements of the game mechanic. If we're thinking as this is a game mechanic, right? The problem that most nonprofit leaders have is that they're just having these roundabout conversations and people aren't sure what they're even talking about. This forces the mechanic. What you can also do is play multiple rounds of different things and say, I want to talk about these things, just communications, right? You could just talk about engagement. So I would say that the tactics are the ones that have the most limited or the limitless possibilities because you put whatever you want on those. The standard gameplay is going to be this for sure. But yeah, that's kind of like how it can expand. You can have unlimited types of things on those cards, but the scenarios won't change. And the reality is that people like Ben, you need 20 minutes to get alignment. And this forces that a bit. One of the things that I observed also is that two things. Structured steps could include calls to action where appropriate. So it doesn't mean that every interaction needs a call to action, but you could intentionally design and go, okay, the third one might be where we ask somebody to do something. And then what might be interesting to think about this, Ben, specifically is how does this translate into maybe what you could do on the website? Like maybe that's the asset that we could develop coming out of this session is like almost like a little website checklist for recurring giving.
Okay.
Throwing that out there. Would other people want that? Because we're going to collaboratively create an asset, an artifact using the discussions here. My job is to put that together. Your job is not to write that, folks. But
I love that.
Let's think about that. Let's kind of reflect
or
on
just
that
kind of even higher level.
Yeah.
What needs to be in place? Because if it, what does there need to be a person in place to manage this? Who's going to be in charge of this? What does success look like? What are our goals and objectives? I think we can create the tactical checklist, but those need to be conversations had by the organization.
And
because Ben, if they put it on your plate, it's like, oh my gosh, I've got so much other stuff on my plate. Like, how am I going to get this done?
We've been actively trying to decentralize things from me too.
Oh yeah.
So that's a great point.
I think to Mary's bringing up a thing that a lot of people have brought up in terms of its usage in strategic planning, because one of the things that I want to make clear is that this is not a replacement for literally anything. We don't have this type of learning structure or interaction. Trust me, I did a lot of research, and there is like games out there. There's board games. There's a lot of conversation cards, but nothing specifically built for the nonprofit sector. So focusing on the fact that 92% of nonprofits make under $1 million a year. Most people are like you, Ben. They don't have a lot of time, right? So we focused in on things that can happen very, very quickly in the beginning. But when I did my St. Louis gameplay, and I think I can take this off the screen because we're done with the gameplay. So when I did my St. Louis gameplay with 10 people at one time, that was fascinating to watch, because by the end of that gameplay, we had already talked about, I think we need a breakout committee for this thing. Like the game players started almost organizing subcommittees in the game. So one of the things that I want to encourage all of you when you look at this is if you want to do that and use it in a way that you think will help your strategic planning, do it.
Yeah.
All we're going to give you is the mechanic and structure in a box, right? And then you can integrate it into things like strategic planning. I think most people, Julia, like, how would you see utilizing this in strategic planning?
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to use this with my school board. So I'm on the school board here. We have a retreat every year, and the purpose of the retreat is to have these kinds of conversations, because we have business meetings every other week, but they're business meetings, that we don't really get to talk a lot of strategy. We do sometimes, but I was thinking I could adapt this and even start having those conversations. And what I like about it is it's not accusatory. So it's not like I'm asking the board chair, why the heck are these agendas so screwed up? It's more like, let's unpack like what's going on and why are our board meetings so long? And like, how could we better get the information out for our board meetings before the meeting so I can prepare? But it doesn't seem like an attack on anybody. It just seems like this is, here's the goal. Like, here's the North Star that we all want to reach. We all want to be here. What are the questions we're not asking and thinking through to get there? So I just think it's really important to be thinking through some of these questions and really understanding these archetypes of people, because not everyone, it's sort of like the love languages. It's like personality test. It's like not everybody is the same.
And that's why, kind of just for context, what I'm going to do at the end of this session is lay out where is the 5-year vision of what the Generosity Roundtable can look like. So I wanted to show you how the mechanic works, folks. We're in about 4 minutes. We're going to actually break out into some discussions with the 3 of us. So Julia's going to take the communications room. Ben's going to go into the engagement room. I'm going to go into the operations room. And kind of you can ask these types of questions or just talk with peers. So to Abner's question, how can we connect with all of these people? One, join us in these rooms in just a few minutes. And we're going to talk for about 15 minutes before we kind of come back and wrap up here. And I'm going to outline that vision and how you can help bring this to your community. Because that's the biggest thing. When Abner's talking about right now, the ways that we learn from each other are completely siloed. They're completely influenced by how is this going to help me sell a thing, right? Technology companies doing webinars. No offense to Julia and any of the great work she does, but there's a lot of consultants who they're putting up webinars and selling PDFs, and ultimately you just kind of feel like, what am I supposed to do? So Ben, kind of, when you've seen the local players like Megan, like, what is that feeling of community that you've started to feel around the game? Because I'd rather hear from you on that point on like, what is the possibility of a peer learning network look like from you? Because you've done a few of these things locally. Where do you think this could go?
I mean, to the moon, really. I mean, we're all in the same boat. Like you said, that statistic you just dropped, like 90% of nonprofits are under $1 million annual. So we're really like all in the same boat. And then locally, I mean, there's 10,000 and change nonprofits just in the Capital District alone. And we're all passionate, the smaller nonprofits, tend to be grassroots led by the founder, and we're all very passionate about our thing. So like having somebody see you is very important in this work. It could feel very lonely at times. You could feel like you're on an island, and the game kind of brings it all home, because these archetypes are like, hey, you're not alone. There's others that look and smell like you because it's this card or that card, So I love that the game is a connection piece. I'm a connector, and connect is literally in our name. So I love it for that.
And in the final minute before we go into the breakouts, that's an important piece here, because what you've seen is a prototype. What you've seen is in many ways conceptual. The only real decks that exist are like right here, right? And I literally got these wooden boxes yesterday because this is a philanthropic project. So I've partnered with Ben at the Connect Center. We're funding this through donations. We're funding this through grants. I'm not trying to sell the game. You cannot, Greg, you can't go online and buy this yet because it doesn't exist fully yet. So this is a bit of a proof of concept that all of you are bearing out here, but you can make this happen. We can make this community built around generosity and identity. And it's because we want to gather like this. So Julia, I don't know, any thoughts on your end before we go into the breakout discussions?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that, you know, people really, they're like, let me get this digital, let me do this. I think it'd be great to do at a board retreat.
Yeah.
It would be really great to do at like with a new staff hire or something, like at orientation.
Yeah.
Something just different than handing someone a packet of paper that sounds so informal and
it's a yes.
And they don't know what to do with.
It's a yes end. It doesn't have to replace any of those things. And so let's go ahead and have a little bit of breakout discussion, and then we're going to meet back. I just want to give people time-wise. We're just going to do this for about 15 minutes, right? So just 15 minutes. Pop into those rooms. You can feel free to share your camera. Julia and Ben, if nobody shares it, then like just feel free to talk about your own thoughts and stuff like that. But we'll pop back here in just about 15 minutes tops.